welcome to the Animal Training Academy Making Ripples podcast show, the show where we share the stories of the ripple-making extraordinaires with behavior nerd superpowers who make up the Animal Training Academy membership. I'm your host and one of the happiness engineers at Animal Training Academy, Shelly Wood from Drop Your Jaws Dog Training in Cape Girardeau, Missouri in the United States. We're absolutely thrilled and grateful to have you here with us today. Make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss a single episode. This show is brought to you on behalf of the Animal Training Academy membership. So if you like the conversations in these episodes, then we want to invite you to continue them with like-minded people in the ATA membership, which you can find out more about at www.atamember.com. Within the membership, you can get access to twice monthly live web classes, the back catalog of previous web class replays, plus a huge library of videos and projects to help you problem solve your training challenges. And we're a sociable bunch with an exclusive private Facebook group and forums area. It's like a Netflix social media platform for animal behavior geeks. Today, we are excited to welcome Ryan Cartlidge and Belinda Young to the show. Ryan Cartlidge has dedicated his career since 2007 to working in and for zoological organizations, training entire teams of zookeepers in animal behavior and training. His work here has taken him to numerous organizations across Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and the United States. In addition, Ryan is a certified professional dog trainer through the Karen Pryor Academy, a fear-free certified professional, a family pause parent educator, and a Tag Teach Level 1 certified trainer. He is also the founder of Animal Training Academy, ATA, an online education platform where he now spends most of his time. ATA helps aspiring animal trainers maximize their positive impact on both animals and people through education, community, and expert support. And Belinda Young. Belinda Young is a companion animal trainer based in Toowoomba. What is that, Queensland? Is that what the QLT is, Belinda?
It is. I'm so sorry. Toowoomba, Queensland.
Toowoomba, Queensland. She began her professional journey as a veterinary nurse where teaching puppy classes sparked her interest in helping people understand animal behavior and training. In 2013, Belinda founded Treat, Play, Love and began working with families in their homes to resolve pet behavior challenges. She holds a diploma in animal technology, Canberra Institute of Technology, and a certificate in companion animal services, Delta Institute, and is committed to ongoing professional development to ensure she can continue offering training advice that is current, effective, and above all, ethical. Belinda has been a part of the Animal Training Academy team since 2022, helping out in the community spaces as well as behind the scenes to facilitate the CEU program. Welcome, Ryan and Belinda, and thank you both for joining me for the first episode of 2026 to discuss gratitude, one of ATA's core values.
Yeah, and Belinda, I'm sure you've been part of ATA, but on a volunteer basis maybe since 2018?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I was trying to remember and I couldn't. But yeah, definitely volunteer from about 2018 and a member before that as well.
I remember sitting on the bus with you on the way to Werribee, I think, Open Range Zoo in Victoria, Australia, being like, hey, would you want to help out with our community stuff?
I remember that too.
Yeah. And Shelly, how long have you been volunteering before joining us more formally?
Gosh, I'm not even sure. A long time. I can't remember. It's been a good bit though.
It's been a good bit, and considering we're talking about gratitude today, let me just express how grateful I am to both of you. And I'm kind of vomiting in my head at the moment from sounding so cliche by starting off a gratitude podcast by expressing gratitude for our team members, but I mean it from the bottom of my heart. If you, the business owners out there listening, you know how hard it is to find good people, and when you're talking about core values as well, Belinda and Shelly, for the listeners, Belinda and Shelly, and for you, Belinda and Shelly, you guys, you just, the word radiate comes to my mind, but you just, through your involvement in ATA, I'm sure has contributed, but I think just through your own beings and personas and life experiences, just share so much of the core values that are important to us here at Animal Training Academy. So I feel like I've hit the jackpot with our happiness engineers, and in full transparency, we call Belinda and Shelley our happiness engineers, and that's a Google term. Not sure how we all feel about Google, but that's where I first heard it. Our happiness engineers in our community, they set antecedents up for our members' success. They are armed with reinforcers to endeavour to reinforce our members for their participation and their bravery and courage in sharing, and what great happiness engineers they are and community moderators. So just want to start this gratitude podcast by expressing massive gratitude to both of you amazing human beings. Thank you for everything you do for us here at Animal Training Academy.
I feel like it's a pretty cool way to spend some of my week, and it's something that I really enjoy. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to do that. And it's something that I've really enjoyed for a lot of years now, being part of ATA.
The rest of your years, you're never leaving. No, you have choice and agency, and you can leave whenever you like, but please don't.
I just echo Belinda. I'm really grateful for the opportunity as well. It is a really cool way to get to spend some time and to be paid for it, interacting with people in Animal Training Academy. To get to do that as part of my work is amazing. So I'm super grateful for that. And I'm also incredibly grateful for my relationship with many members in the Animal Training Academy, many members who I've gotten to meet over the years in that group, and then also on this podcast as the host. That's amazing. And especially I'm grateful for my relationship with both of you. I really treasure getting to talk to you, getting to bounce things off of you all, and having you both as part of my life as friends and colleagues. So I'm really grateful for that. And I love that we're starting the gratitude episode out with massive gratitude for one another, which is definitely a very ATA thing to do, and not planned, but definitely a very ATA thing to do. And I would say that the Animal Training Academy community itself, to me, I'm really grateful for. It's one of the most special and most valuable online communities I have ever been a part of. And the core values of ATA, in addition to all the amazing community members that we have, the core values of ATA, I think, are really the foundation that make the community so strong and special. And you mentioned, Ryan, when you were talking that, those values have potentially shaped Belinda and me in some ways, and in addition to our other life experiences and things as well. And I would say that they definitely have. The focus on the values in ATA has contributed to my growth, both inside the community and out of it. So I'm really excited to kind of dive into that topic of gratitude today. And Ryan, I was hoping that you might maybe kind of launch things off by talking about why gratitude? Why was gratitude intentionally chosen as a core value of ATA?
Yeah, the idea of intentionally focusing on core values and creating content around core values and specifically looking for opportunities to share about these stemmed from less than 12 months ago. We've always practiced gratitude in the community. We've always been intentional about saying that we practice gratitude in our community, but we've never really discussed the concept of core values before. And it came from a business mentoring opportunity that I took part in, where I was being mentored in at the start of 2025. And this particular mentor sent a questionnaire to me beforehand to fill out. And one of the questions was, what are your core values? of your organization? And I didn't find that very hard to answer, but I'd never written them down before. And I'd have to go and revisit it because I do revisit it frequently. But I think that gratitude was at number one or at number two. Like it was the first thing that came to my mind as something that's really important inside our community. And the reason why I think is because there is a fine line between Ryan Cartlidge and Animal Training Academy. Like it's a company, like it's a legal entity. It's a company here in New Zealand, but there's one, and it's obviously made up of everyone. But there's one shareholder, and you're listening to that shareholder's voice right now. And it started as an idea, and I guess therefore the core values are my core values that I put down on that sheet. And for me, gratitude in my life has been life-changing when you have gratitude as an intentional piece of your routine, of your existence. And that's the impact that I believe it can have on you as an individual person. But then also, I think appreciating others is really important to me. I think that we all want to be appreciated. And I think we often do appreciate each other, but not necessarily verbalize it. So that's always been really important to me ever since I read a book called, and I'm not very good at this, and I read this when I was 13. I'm still terrible at it. It's called How to Win Friends and Influence People. But it talks about how important it is, how important it is for people to feel appreciated. And if we think about Animal Training Academy, we always spent time at the start. We've always, and we still do, spend time at the start of all of our webinars. We've done 220, 30 webinars now, expressing gratitude to the guests that we host for the impact they have via the work that they do out there just in the world. And we mean that from the bottom of our hearts, because that's why we're doing this, is to help learners, human and non-human, under the ethical frameworks that we lean on for us here at Animal Training Academy. That's Susan Friedman's hierarchy of behavior change interventions according to the most positive, least intrusive, effective alternative. And we are super grateful. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing at Animal Training Academy, but we don't do that in isolation. So we're so grateful for everyone's work that we host here at Animal Training Academy. And we're always, of course, grateful for them wanting to spend time with us at Animal Training Academy. So we always make sure that we just let people know that we appreciate them being here with us. And then we just appreciate everyone learning with us within our live session. So I've always done that. And I've been labeled with the label, or Animal Training Academy has been labeled as a place of toxic positivity, which makes me laugh. Because I feel like I've experienced toxic positivity where people aren't, even if things aren't going well, people are like, yeah, things are great. Like, even if people aren't grateful, they're like, yeah, we're grateful. And like, that's not what we're doing. Like, when things aren't going well, we talk about them and we learn from them. And we wouldn't be expressing gratitude if we weren't grateful for something. And so that took me back when someone said that to me, and I thought, I spoke to a good mentor of mine about it, and she said that some people just aren't used to being in this kind of environment. So for them, it comes across as inauthentic. But on the other hand, I've had people message me and say, at first when I heard you saying this, and there's multiple people who said this, like, I was like, why is he taking so long? Like, why doesn't he just start the webinar? Like, he's always like babbling on about this stuff. But then like over time, they're like, oh, like now I love it. And like, I've started to do that in my own life. And they've expressed gratitude for learning about gratitude. And so I would say I've been reinforced by the community over time it's been so important in my own life. And I think it's really important if you're genuinely grateful for other people to give them the kindness of letting them know.
Yeah, I think I really like what you were saying about the gratitude being genuine. You know, we do express gratitude a lot, but when we're expressing it, it is about something genuine. We're not talking about just saying that we're grateful for things for the sake of saying we're grateful for things, but it is always something in many cases maybe that we want to reinforce or that we just want to expect or express that we're grateful for. And you mentioned some folks talking about like, I wonder why you always do this at the beginning of the web class, and then growing to really like that component. I'm wondering if either of you have other examples or thoughts of ways that you see gratitude showing up in the Animal Training Academy community. If you've seen gratitude kind of shaping the way that the community interacts together, learns together, in addition to what you've already shared, Ryan? Either one of you?
I want to hear Belinda's thoughts on this as the non-ATA founder, what she's seen.
Well, I think like when listening to Ryan talking about core values and how the core values of Animal Training Academy are kind of the core values of Ryan Cartlidge, it occurs to me that I guess the values of Animal Training Academy and the way that we interact with each other sort of behind the scenes and with members within the community, it occurs to me that what we're doing with people is what we're aiming to do with animals as positive reinforcement or reward-based or force-free or whatever you want to call it. Animal trainers, we're trying to communicate clearly and kindly and meet people where they're at and sort of find that next approximation to, you know, help them to get where they want to go. And in doing that, I think with animals, we're often using sort of tangible reinforcers. We're using food and toys and tactile and other access to things that they like. And I think gratitude, in a way, given authentically and specifically, I think that serves as a really effective reinforcer. Like you say, people hear that they're valued and they're appreciated. And I think that core value of gratitude is part of what makes the Animal Training Academy community such a nice place to learn, because we are always, I guess, trying to find those reinforcers for different people to help them to learn and to access the next bit of information that will help them on their journey.
I'm wondering, as you were talking, Belinda, and I was thinking about my perspective as a happiness engineer as well, and saying, expressing gratitude within the community. I'm wondering if, do you feel like you have become more grateful in general in your life as a result of looking for opportunities to express gratitude, the way that we so intentionally look for those opportunities in the community? Does that make sense? Do you think that practicing gratitude in there has helped you identify gratitude in other areas as well, possibly?
Yeah, I think definitely, because I really like that Ryan sort of brought up toxic positivity, and that kind of sense of, I guess, like expressing gratitude and commenting positively on things that people do. It can feel a little bit contrived. I think we're not always very good at doing that as a default setting. And certainly if you exist in other parts of social media and the internet, you get a sense that Animal Training Academy is quite different. And I think that's why it's such an appealing place to be. But it's like any skill, really, I guess. The more that you practice it, and if you practice it well, it becomes more fluent, and skills that are more fluent come more easily. And definitely, I think, I mean, even as a member, as a volunteer, and now as a team member, having that encouragement to look for opportunities to be grateful and to provide feedback to people. Like, you know, these are the things I'm so grateful that you feel comfortable to share and to have this learning experience here, and you feel safe to do that. It gives me a better sense of how to communicate outside of Animal Training Academy as well, in a way that hopefully creates safety with the people that I'm with. and it certainly learning to recognize things in other people that I think are, it's really brave, or it's really cool, or it's really clever, and sort of looking for those things so that I can, I guess, celebrate them with that person. It helps me to recognize it in myself as well. Certainly not all the time, not perfectly, but I am much more inclined to be like, oh, this was a really cool opportunity to learn something, rather than this was terrible, or it didn't go the way that I wanted. It's much easier to pick out the things that I can build on next time. And there's so many parts of ATA that have helped me, I guess, maybe to be more resilient in my pursuit of animal training and life in general. But yeah, definitely practicing within ATA makes practicing outside of it something that comes much more naturally, which is a great gift.
And Ryan, I assume, I'm going to guess, tell me if I'm wrong, I'm going to guess that you also view gratitude as a skill. And if so, I wonder if you have any thoughts, any other thoughts too, on how we can develop that skill and hone it.
Yeah, I definitely think that it's a skill. And I'll share, I was sharing with Belinda and Shelly about a learning opportunity that I had within the last week. And well, I won't go into the details about that here, but I'm sure I can share some components of the situation, and you, the listener, will think about situations that you've been in yourself that share similarities. So one of those is waking up at 4 a.m. in the morning, and rather than going back to sleep, getting stuck in a repetitive loop of thoughts about things I could have done differently, or frustration or guilt or regret about the situation. And it's not like I hadn't already thought all of those things. I said a repetitive loop. So your brain's looping a little bit. So for this past week, I've been getting up at 4 a.m. I'm like, screw that. like, why is my brain doing this to me? It's so annoying. And then I get annoyed that I'm annoyed. I'm like, it's okay to be annoyed, Ryan. You don't have to fix this. Shut up, Ryan. You're so annoying. And so I'm like, I just get up, and then I'm like, okay, cool. So what can I do to, like, why is this happening? Like, and I think it was happening because for the specific situation, if it's happened to you, maybe it's the same thing, because of fear. Like, I'm scared. Like, I think that I'm at risk. I'm threatened. This was a professional situation. I'm like, there's some risks here for me on multiple levels. And so my brain's trying to, I'm not sure what it's trying to do. I don't quite understand it. I've been trying to understand it this week. But anyway, I get up and I'm like, okay, cool. What do I do now that I'm up? So I just documented things. And I was like, okay, think back to this situation. What did I do well? What did I learn? And what are some new benchmarks I can set for myself that if I'm in this situation again in the future, I will want this to be my baseline or my benchmark. And I got it all out of my head, and it really helped. And I keep adding to that document. But now I can sit here and truthfully say, like, I'm really grateful for this opportunity to learn. And like Belinda's said, that saying these things out loud, like I'm always worried, like I sound like HR hype or something. Like there's just buzzwords. Oh yeah, cool. Be grateful for the learning opportunities you've had, and you feel like contrived. But again, back to that bit of being genuine. Like I feel immense gratitude. Like I'm just a 42-year-old dude who 41 and 363 days old dude who I can only do what my learning history allows me to and the skills I have. But I think the gratitude that I feel now has come from the process that I just described. So that's just an example from this week. But for me, I work at, for those in Animal Training Academy, you likely I have seen at some point, if you've been, depending on how long you've been with us, some contributions from my work I do at Moonlit Sanctuary, and I love being at Moonlit, and the team, sometimes 20, 30 people, we all get together in the morning, we stand in a circle, and we throw a ball around, and everyone has a go, and everyone says something they're grateful for. So you say whatever, then you pass the ball on, the next person says whatever, and they pass the ball on. And often it's like, I was really grateful for team member X yesterday because it was at the end of the day and this thing happened and I was really running late and they came in and they offered to do XYZ tasks for me, which means that we could both leave on time. And what a beautiful way to start the day. So I think that is an intentional practice that I haven't had these discussions with that team. Like, do you think, like you've just asked Shelly, that this has ripples and bleeds out into other areas of your life? But I think would be logical for reasoning that it would. So that's an example of something that it's if you've got 20 team members, there's 20 individuals, but it's could be argued that it's low stakes. Some people might find that really stressful. And I'm assuming it's probably a bit strange for like new team members coming in again, like the webinar thing. Like what is going on here? Like I've got to come up with something to be grateful for. But I think I like to imagine, maybe I'm wrong, that over time that actually blends into genuine gratitude. And logically to me, people are looking for things that they can say at the meeting the following day. So opportunities to be grateful for things is something that's on people's radar. And going back to what Belinda said, in terms of what we do as animal trainers, I think becoming better observers and looking for those little things is a great skill that we develop as animal trainers. And I think gratitude helps us develop as well. Because if you think about it, like that your fingers or your toes or your legs or your arms, like we take these things for granted, right? Until they're gone. We just don't think about them on a daily basis. But like, imagine not having an arm. Sorry for anyone who doesn't have an arm who's listening, but like, I'm very grateful for my arm. And again, God, you sound contrived, Ryan. But like, I mean, truthfully, like, if you really think about it, your arm's pretty awesome, right? It would suck if you didn't have your arm. And like, just reminding yourself about the little things in life that you don't ever think about or acknowledge or take for granted on a daily basis that are pretty amazing. And the fact that evolution like created this like pretty grateful for that as well. And so I think yes it's a skill. And that skill is being able to look for and appreciate things and as you go about your day. And I think you can definitely implement practices. There's lots more practices we can talk about, but that's just one of the ones I really like. What about you, Shelly? Do you think it's a skill? I'm going to interview the interviewer, everyone.
I'll be asking the questions here, Ryan. Yes, I think it's a skill.
I won't be asking that again. Oh, hang on, someone's at the door. You go.
Okay. I do think that gratitude is a skill. And I like the exercise that Ryan was talking about that they do at Moonlit, where they throw the ball and somebody said something that they're grateful for. There was a period in my life where I kept a gratitude journal and wrote down at least 5 things every day that I was grateful for. And there was definitely a time where that was very helpful for me in training my eye to look for things to be grateful for. So I think there are lots of other ways probably to hone that skill, but being intentional about identifying those things that we're grateful for is something that's been helpful for me in the past. And I think that just like you two have already shared about it, much like positive reinforcement training, when we practice being grateful, we're putting our eye on the thing that we want to grow or want to embrace or experience fully, rather than putting our eye on the things that maybe we're not as that we don't want around as much. I think about I was thinking about this earlier today, as I was thinking about this podcast and talking about gratitude, and I was thinking that for me, and for me, I think practicing the skill of gratitude in my daily life, whether it's with my work in ATA or whether it's in the past keeping a gratitude journal or just trying to practice mindfulness and be aware of gratitude, that really helps me when things are hard or painful. Be able to turn my eye to what is there that I am grateful for. I know that you both know that my dog Miha this year has been through a lot of different health issues and has a couple diagnoses that I'm was not very happy to receive. And the time that I have with her right now is something that I find myself just treasuring and being incredibly grateful for and incredibly happy to have and to experience, and it makes me think a little bit of, a completely different scenario, but it kind of makes me think of what you were talking about a minute ago, Ryan, when you were talking about the situation that had caused a lot of stress and that there were a lot of things in there that maybe weren't pleasant, that you were dealing with, but then you were able to access that gratitude for the current moment, dealing with that situation. So I think that I think I'm glad that I have the skill of gratitude that I practice on a regular basis so that sometimes when things are more difficult, it's easier for me to access. Because if I didn't practice it regularly, when things were really difficult, it would probably be really hard to access, or it might be harder to access. So I don't know. Hopefully some of that made sense. I'm a question asker, not an answerer.
We need to have you be an answerer more often. What about you, Belinda? What are your thoughts on it being a skill? And do you have any practices?
I don't have any practices specifically. But what Shelly just touched on as she was sort of finishing up her wonderful answer, where practicing under less stressful conditions is really the key, so that when things are more stressful, you can access that skill more easily. And when you were talking, Ryan, about the challenges that you've had recently, it occurred to me that what you were able to practice with yourself is really what you would practice with another human, like a friend or a colleague or a peer. And we would do that so easily, right? If they were like, oh, this was terrible, I didn't do well, it was the worst. I think that the thing that we practice often in Animal Training Academy is really breaking it down. And I straight away thought of the Sarah Owings rubric, right? Where we go, this is what went well, this is what they did well, this is one thing I can change, not a shopping list of things that I can change. And I think that sort of having those practices and frameworks gives us the tools we need to be able to deal with those stresses more effectively. And then additionally, that practice of, like training your eye for things to be grateful for can sound really contrived. Like, oh, if they don't just jump out, are they worth expressing that gratitude for? But we do it with our animals all the time. We often talk about, reinforcing the behaviors you want to see more of. And it's very common advice, I think, for certain situations, certainly where you just go, well, we're going to have this many reinforcers available, and throughout the day, we're just going to reward or reinforce anything that we see that we like. And we don't think of that as contrived or made up. I think that's a really important strategy, and it's of great value, and it helps us to shift behavior in the direction that we want to see it shift. And I think it's really the same with gratitude and training yourself to notice the things that are, good about your day and your interactions and your experiences. I can't see that there is any danger in doing that. It seems like something that can only improve sort of well-being and mental health and the things that we value in ourselves and in others and in Animal Training Academy and in life.
Really like the way that you said that it can feel contrived, but it doesn't feel contrived if we're capturing behavior and reinforcing it from one of the animals that we live with. We do that all the time. And so I think that like back when I kept a gratitude journal, or even when I first started engaging in ATA in a more formal way than just as a member as I had in the past, and I started responding to people intentionally, many times saying I'm grateful, it kind of maybe felt a little contrived in the beginning for me there too, even though I was being honest about what I was grateful for. But after doing it, it no longer feels contrived. It's that genuineness right out of the gate, whether it's in my own life, identifying things for a gratitude journal, or telling somebody else what I'm grateful for. So I think it definitely, builds you build fluency with the skill. So yeah.
Maybe it's an unintended side effect. I know that if I express gratitude to others, like, oh, wow, thank you for being so bold in asking that question, or you did a really great job filming that session to share it, thank you. Reinforcing that or expressing gratitude for that in others, it also affects my own behavior. I'm more likely to ask questions or share video or, I guess, model behavior that I really enjoy seeing from other members as well. So I think it all contributes to creating a really exciting space to be a learner, whether it's myself, selfishly, or hopefully everyone else that's learning in there as well.
100%. I agree with that. Like by recognizing what other people are doing in the community and expressing my gratitude about it, it makes me also then be like, oh, maybe I should give that a try. Yeah. So 100% agree with it. Does that resonate with you too, some, Ryan?
Yeah, I think that whenever somebody posts anything in our community or online, there is vulnerability involved in so much as they open themselves up for criticism, especially if they share videos. And I'm curious if that's a reason we don't see like huge amounts of video. Is that vulnerability of the risk of being criticized? It might not be. It might just be it's too hard to set cameras up and tripods and move stuff from phones to computers and get them in Facebook, or the forums. But I think generally speaking that there's quite a lot of vulnerability in sharing even a question in a written format. Part of this is backed up by data in so much as we did a large survey at the end of 2023 to all of our members, all of our lapsed members, all of our people in our mailing list that aren't members. And one of the big recurring challenges that people have is just feeling like part of it's feeling like you're not good enough, and part of it's feeling like you're just so worried about messing things up. You're worried about making mistakes if you do some animal training project or something. And I think that is, if not the same, it is in the same vein as posting stuff in the community. Like you're just worried about not like framing it wrong or asking a dumb question or exposing your weaknesses and knowledge or whatever it is. And I think that all three of us, like just acknowledge that. We just start our post with thanks so much for sharing and thanks for being my wording is frequently thanks for bravely sharing this question and here with us and trusting us to help provide some feedback. And I typically speaking just default to starting all of my comments like that, just because of everything I've just said. Additionally, to build on that, I feel vulnerable every time I post for that very reason. Part of it is the community we have. We've got people who are animal training enthusiasts, but don't necessarily do this professionally. We have people who are professionals and are just getting started. We have people that have been training longer than I've been alive in the community. And so there's the fear of sounding stupid in front of these people or dumb with your questions or not looking like you know what you're talking about. And so I think there's a lot of vulnerability in posting in our community for that reason as well. And I know that that's been expressed to me on many occasions. So we intentionally try to, and I say we, because I know that you guys do this too, express gratitude for that at the start of every post. And I think we talk about Animal Training Academy having this as their core value, part of their culture, and potentially different in other spaces, is when I see that vulnerability in a post and people, if there's very few comments on a post and they're just straight down to nuts and bolts of solving problems, I think we can generate safety for all, the poster, the people reading the post, and ourselves, by acknowledging what we're doing and the behaviors we're doing. And I think we know that that models behavior for others as well when people are brave and vulnerable. Like, we really celebrate bravery and vulnerability. And for the individual person using our community, we will know if it's reinforcing or not based on their future behavior. But I think we're pretty good at that. Like, we generally see when we can ourselves model these core values and identify the courage needed to put yourself out there. I think we generally do see behavior being maintained and or increased with regards to posting in our community. I can't remember what your question was, Shelly, but there you go.
It was a great answer.
Thank you.
I also don't remember what the question was, so it was perfect.
Awesome. So we like to hear. I'm grateful I can answer questions. I don't know what the question was.
Belinda, did you have an answer to that question as well?
Well, I can't remember what the question was either. But I think, it just comes back to, the learners in Animal Training Academy are humans, right? So while we are hoping to influence the lives of animals by influencing those humans,
100%.
The learners that we're contacting directly are human. And so we, the core values, that really just comes back to having, I guess, an eye on and a desire to communicate and teach and interact in the most positive way possible. Yes, Ryan?
I raised my hand in the Zoom meeting, everyone. No, I just think what you said is so important that I didn't want to lose my thought and have the moment gone. And that, I can't. Well, we got renovations going on at home and people are knocking on my doors and my brain is just operating on fumes.
Your hand went up when I was talking about our learners being human learners.
Right. And so the conversations that we've had, thank you for this, and thank you for everyone being patient with me today. And so I think I do this in most podcast episodes, to be honest. What are we talking about again? But in terms of being brave and vulnerable, and we talked about at some point today the culture that facilitates that. I think that we also want to celebrate taking risks, because and stepping outside of your comfort zone, and we're all human learners in that space, and I think that's the thing I don't talk about in our marketing, because I just don't think it's the thing that's keeping people up at night, and I think it's the thing that motivates people to join our community. But it's like my secret mission is to empower people to be brave learners. Thank you, Sarah Owings. And take risks and be vulnerable and learn. And for me, in Animal Training Academy and any work I do with zoos or with humans, individual human learners with their own animals, or with other species, with dog clubs, etc., we're just working with human learners, right? And this is my secret mission. Like, I just want to empower people to learn. And I think learning is going to be supercharged if we can fail a lot more. And to do that, we have to be in a culture that celebrates that. And I think gratitude plays into that. But additionally, I can't easily articulate the connection of those dots right now, because I'm just gone off on tangents. So Belinda's got her hand up, and I'm grateful for that. Passing to you, Belinda.
Well, just as you were speaking, I was thinking about how, and I mean, I know it's not the case everywhere, but I was just thinking about how absurd it would be if we were working with an animal and they offered us something that wasn't what we expected. We wouldn't go, oh my gosh, you're so stupid, don't. But I think we globally, humans, do that quite a lot with each other and with ourselves. And so I think that sort of attitude of gratitude that we talk about is really about sort of going like, wow, cool. Thank you for, like being bold and for offering things and for trying and for speaking and for sharing and for learning. We want more behavior, not less, right? And
absolutely.
I think again, it's just applying excellent training and behavior skills to all learners, not just animals. And I think we are really good at that in Animal Training Academy.
I think we're really good at it as well. And something when Ryan was talking about taking risks, wanting people to take risks and push themselves outside of their comfort zone, I fully agree. And also, I think that it's a good idea to take calculated risks by taking those, by being smart about where you take those risks. Speaking of, the word toxic was mentioned earlier, and the online world, social media can sometimes be a toxic place, and it can sometimes, risks can sometimes be punished. And that might be okay. You might, not that they're punished, but you might be okay with that, even if, one might be okay with that, even if the risks were punished, and still it's a good idea. You can learn from things and still okay to take risks. However, for me personally, because I am somebody who definitely feels really vulnerable in sharing ever online, whether it's training or writing something or whatever it is, just feel really vulnerable about that. I like to take risks somewhere like ATA, where I have a pretty good idea of how those risks are going to be received. It doesn't mean that every single person who comments on something I share is going to reinforce a million things from what I shared, or that every comment is going to land necessarily 100% right. But I know that overall, in general, it's a safe place to take a risk. People are going to be looking to reinforce me, to express gratitude, and to support me for having been vulnerable. And it's not been my experience that it's that way everywhere online. There are some other wonderful online spaces. So if anybody is listening to this that has one of those, I don't mean to be critical of all other online spaces. I just think it's important to kind of think about where we're taking those risks to best set ourselves up for success in learning experiences. Do you guys have thoughts about how ATA's culture of gratitude can create ripples outside of the Animal Training Academy community, ways that we can influence gratitude in the larger world besides just in ATA?
I think we've talked about my main thoughts there, which are just to increase people's observations about things that they can be grateful for. And I think that the impact of that is if we're developing skills to become better observers, I think I think it's logical to me without having a huge level of clarity on this idea, and I think that's a great place to explore it. It's logical to me that makes you a better animal trainer as well, because if we're becoming better observers in general, then I think that's one of the most valuable skills that we can develop in ourselves, to notice and observe subtleties in our animals' behavior. And I feel like we that I want to have a more grandiose answer, but I don't think it's more complicated than that. I'm sure there's a ton of other things that I haven't considered. But for me, like, even if it was just that one thing, like, I think that's huge.
Well, that's a good one. Belinda?
I just think as well, I mean, within the Animal Training Academy spaces, I hope that we are modeling a system of communicating and feedback where we are obviously practicing expressing genuine gratitude and providing feedback that is hopefully specific and meaningful and helps people to build their skills. And I think if we're modeling that and people are seeing it, hopefully they're taking it to other places in their life as well. That could be with family or friends or with training clients that they're working with. I mean, before we started recording this podcast, I guess I sort of was reflecting on the idea that it's okay for us to have like aspirational goals towards how we express and experience gratitude. And even if we're not perfect at it all the time, online or in real life, I don't think that that is a reason to not sort of continue to practice and hopefully get better at it all the time. So yeah, I think just like modeling and practicing, hopefully that is something that people see and experience and then take out into their lives as well, the way that we all seem to have taken it out in our own lives as well.
I love both of those answers. I love the idea of developing our observational skills by becoming more in tune with what we're grateful for and how that might help us be better animal trainers. And what you were just saying, Belinda, about the modeling aspect of things, I have noticed in ATA, you'll see members sometimes start to express gratitude more in their comments or in their post. And it's possible, I'm going to guess maybe even likely, that they've picked that up just from the culture of the community. And so I think that we members and ourselves modeling the same behavior that we do in ATA out and about and in the world would be one way also to influence to expand these ripples beyond the ATA community out into the world. So wonderful. Great thoughts on gratitude, everybody, and a lot of fun to chat with you both today. Before we wrap up, is there anything about gratitude or anything else that we haven't touched on yet that either one of you wanted to share about?
I think that for me wraps it up. I think I could just probably keep talking about different practices that have been helpful and different ways it's impacted my life. But also something I'm grateful for is learning about how I operate. And I quickly mentioned before, because I noticed I was starting to waffle, that we've got renovations and part way through. It depends if James, our amazing editor, who I'm grateful for, edits it out or not. At some point I said someone at my door, and I told Belinda and Shelly there's probably going to be a tradesman at my door at some point. And there was. And so I'm just operating in a highly distracting environment at the moment, and I'm grateful that I have opportunities to learn. And I, as a guest on podcast shows, know that when I'm in a highly distracting environment, I tend to start off thinking that I've got clarity, and then by the end of it, like I'm just like talking, and none of it's super coherent when I listen to it back. So, additionally, being grateful for the lessons I've learned from the opportunities I've had, I think I know myself and know my own brain in this context as being like, dude, shut up now. Because you're gonna start making less and less sense. So on that note as well, I think I should be grateful for those lessons and move towards finalizing my contributions.
I don't think I've got anything particularly more that I wanted to say, but I will say that having some fluency on the skill of noticing things to be grateful for has been really quite helpful with a new puppy in the household. And some of the challenges that it's come with, to still be able to they're not that hard to find, still be able to feel grateful for all of the things that are really a lot of fun and exciting opportunities to learn more and to stretch and grow skills. Having some fluency on that skill of noticing and being grateful has been very timely. So I'm glad that I've had the years of practice with Animal Training Academy so that I can more fully enjoy the experience that I'm having right now with a puppy in the house. So thank you.
Love it. And Patrick is famous, so everyone knows who Patrick is.
Yes, Patrick was excluded from the room this morning
We're grateful for that.
Yes.
Ryan, Belinda, thank you both so much for taking time out of your busy days and a busy day. I guess you each just have one today. Thank you both for taking time out of your busy day. And Ryan, for taking time even with all the well, I clearly should stop now too, because I was going to say destruction when I meant to say construction at your home.
Well, no, there was destruction and construction. It's accurate and relevant.
And Belinda, for taking time out of your day with Patrick to come and join us. So thank you both.
Thank you, Shelly.
Thank you, Shelly.
We do, of course, appreciate all of you tuning in as well. And if you have enjoyed this episode and are interested in carrying on the conversation about working with the animals in our lives in the most positive, most fun, and most choice-rich ways, then as mentioned at the start of this episode, the Animal Training Academy community is waiting for you. Head on over to www.atamember.com and click on the membership button in the main menu to learn more about what members are describing as the Netflix social media platform for behavior geeks. That's it for this episode, though. Thank you so much for listening. You'll hear from us again soon.